Yo, what's up? It's Lou.
Aaron.
And I'm Brandon.
You're hanging out with Pella.
Say.
With Rob on Punk Videos Rock.
So you guys just wrapped up Warped Tour, first time experience on the tour. What was that like for you guys? Was it everything that you guys dreamed of it to be?
Oh, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, anything.
For fucking sure. Like it was super. Can I pass it over to them?
Yeah, it was it was wireless. Sweet. This was Warped Tour was amazing. Being someone that went to Warped Tour since like 2007, it was great to see that, and to be on Warped Tour was just another side of being living the dream. That was a very complicated answer, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot busier than I expected, but it was still swaggy.
So after Warped Tour, you guys did a few other shows. I think you guys went out to Japan, right?
Yeah.
And there's something about the band that when I first found out about the band a couple years ago, I initially thought you guys were like a Japanese act. You guys have the something with Japanese.
Yeah.
What is it about Japan or Japanese that you guys really like draw attention to?
We are all, especially us three right here, we're really heavily influenced by like Japanese culture, Japanese fashion. We're all huge fans of like anime and video games, and at the time, like where fashion was, Japanese culture was like really popular. So we decided to be one of the first bands to kind of like integrate that into our style, into our look, into our logo.
Okay.
And yeah, it was sick. We've all been really big Japanese fanboys for a long time. So yeah.
So what was that experience like for you guys to actually go to Japan and perform? I'm sure those shows were even more massive than what you guys are used to here.
Yeah. It was super. I don't know. You guys want?
It was honestly mind blowing just to get there, just because I've been dreaming about going to Japan since I was like 2 years old, and it was just, I don't know, it was 2-year-old dreams, man, living life hard. But yeah, it was just like, it was kawaii dreams, man. It was wild. It was an experience I'll never forget, and I cannot wait to go back, because I bought a house down there, so I gotta go,
You have the dream.
Like the best part for me was going to Odaiba City in Tokyo. Well, first of all, Tokyo is so massive that there's so many different like districts in Tokyo. We didn't even get to see all of it. We were only there for like 3 days, and we only got to go to maybe 2 or 3 of, I think it's like 12 or some type of districts. Like, but we went to Odaiba. Yeah, yeah. We went to Odaiba. Yeah, and Harajuku. But the best part was seeing the life-size Gundam. For me, I'm a huge Gundam nerd. And I have a Gundam tattoo, and and I was like, I couldn't stop smiling. It was like seeing Santa Claus if he was real, and I was just like, fuck,
he's real.
yo.
Just shout out to Santa.
I was like, yo, this shit's real as fuck, and it was cool.
Did that really take influence on your style as well, as far as your clothing? All of your press shots, I don't know what you call them, jerseys, what you guys are wearing.
Yeah.
So did that really take the influence on that style as well?
Yes. Yeah. Like that was kind of like a whole mixture of stuff. Like a lot of like, other genres of music kind of like influence on that. Like we listen to a whole bunch of different stuff. A lot of like producers and DJs were like kind of like getting started doing like kind of similar stuff like that. So we thought like it'd be really cool to do that. And, yeah, actually, honestly, I don't know. I think as far as our jerseys, we actually might be, retiring them pretty soon. So I feel like that stage of Palisades might be coming to a close with that. But we loved doing the jerseys. Like it was really cool. It kind of gave us like a unique look, something that no one else was really doing at the time, and still kind of something that no one's still really doing, except for like I don't know, some other bands I guess now. But yeah, that was something really cool. I feel like that kind of like solidified us as like a unit. And but yeah, we always pride ourselves on being very fashion forward and kind of knowing like what's next in fashion and like what's next for like what we want to do. So we're gonna have like another new kind of thing coming out soon. So
okay,
for sure.
And is this something that coincide with a new direction of the band, or you guys are sure of what your sound is now and what Palisades is really all about?
I think. Yes. I think that like one thing that we kind of coined to sum up our sound was the term sad trap. Okay. And there's a lot of bands where you can be like, if you really want to get into it, yeah, we're a rock band that influences. We have like rock influence, we have hip hop, we have EDM stuff, we mix it all together. But like, there's a certain unique way to make the formula that makes Palisades music. Okay. And another example of that, they coined the term love metal. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of what we did. We made sad trap, and I think finally with writing, we're coming up with a few demos, and everything is starting to come along. It's like there's finally a face to that term.
Yeah, 'cause I think that's the big thing is like a lot of artists and musicians and bands, they kind of get caught up in genres and they forget that when you're creating music, it's really just that, you're just creating. So there's an artist named Bryson Tiller, and he basically calls his music trap soul, because I guess in that term, that's the best way he can describe his own music. It's not, it's not R&B, it's not pop, it's not hip hop, it's his own version of it. So I think that's what's finding the true identity of a band or an artist or a musician is that.
And as to add on to the whole sad trap thing, with this new music, like we've just kind of only begun starting to write, and Palisades is an ever evolving machine,
right?
And it's cool because like not only are we doing like coining the term sad trap, but we're also gonna mix stuff like some sort of stuff like dark pop elements into it. Like we want to make like dark pop, sad trap, different music that no one's ever fucking heard before.
I thought you were just teasing when you guys posted like you guys want to hear new music, because the record Mind Games hasn't even hit a year yet. So I mean, what is it? I mean, what's the reason behind starting to work on new music already? Do you guys feel that you already toured the record the way that it should be toured, or is there still more life to it?
That's actually a really good question. You gotta understand, like, when you go into writing, the album, when it's done, it probably won't even be out until like summer of next year. So we still have a lot more time to like still tour off of Mind Games. But it's always important as artists and all of us together as Palisades, like it's always important to keep writing new music. You know what I mean? Plus, like in the age that we live in nowadays, like kids have like the most crazy amount of ADD, and especially in the world of the internet where nobody wants to click more than 2 times on any link, like statistically.
It's already too long.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I'll just go. See you guys later. We're Palisades. But no, you know what I mean? Like nobody wants to sit around and watch that. They just want quick shit. So like it's always like important for artists in every genre of music to constantly be putting out new material, or at least just writing.
Okay.
So yeah.
Now in transition with your first record to Mind Games, what was that like going into the studio with Eric Ron? What was that production like? Because it was different, So how was it for you guys?
I'll say it was pretty stressful. It was probably one of the most stressful times that the band might have ever had, just because we were a little underprepared with writing. We had a few ideas.
We were touring a lot, so
like that's another thing with especially our band. Like we're consistently touring. We try to tour as much as we can, right. But it was really, really stressful, and there. Like we didn't agree on certain things, and like with any band or with anything, like you're gonna have disagreements, you're gonna get pissed off, you're gonna be sad about something, you might take something too personally because you feel really strongly about a part and someone else is kind of like knocking it down, saying it's not as good as you think it is. Yeah. But at the end of the day, yeah, no, we love Eric. Eric was awesome.
It was more of like just like internal battles between ourselves. Like we had a lot of pressure on us to write like an awesome follow-up to Outkast, and we really wanted to, but being on the road as much as we can, and like being forced to write in hotel rooms and in a van or like in the green room, which is like what we're even doing now. Yeah. It's a lot of pressure, especially like when you want to deliver something that's really great. But honestly, I think with all the stress and everything that we went through, it kind of like really made Mind Games what it is. And while Mind Games, I think, is like the perfect interpretation of like our live show transgressed onto an album, I think at the same time it captured a lot of the elements of all the stress and the hard work. Like if you listen to lyrical content on the album, there's a lot of shit on there that's like some deep shit. Like yeah, we have fun and shit like that, but like we also really had a lot to say on that album about a lot of stuff. So it was, and Eric Ron's great, man. Honestly, as far as for me and for Brandon, like he really pushed both of us as vocalists, and especially myself, at least I think so. I mean, we had like a really great time doing that, and he's an incredible producer.
You guys had like 3 features on this record. You also had features on your first record, but I actually want to talk about the feature with Garret Rapp. Tell me about that song, People Like Us, and what was it about Garret that you guys wanted him on that feature?
Well, it's very interesting actually. Garret and all the Color Morale dudes have been homies to us for like a very long time, since the first time we toured with them. We actually got really close. And I remember before we were recording the album, I was sitting in Orlando at one of our shows at Jimmy John's, and he texted me, and he was like, yo, dude, I just want to let you know, this was before we even wrote anything. He's like, yo, dude, I just want to let you know, I want to be a part of your next album. He's like, I love you guys, and like, you guys are my homies, and like, you know, someone just recorded on our album for like, you know, just to pay it forward, so I want to do it for you guys too. And I was like, yo, that's awesome. And so we were writing the song People Like Us, and lyrically I wrote that song about an ex-girlfriend of mine that I went through, and it was all about how like you know, she feel like people who feel like they're not good enough, but you want to be like there for them no matter what. And I feel like Garret was like a really good, like a perfect person for that, because Garret has probably one of the most inspirational messages out of any frontman or vocalist that we've ever met. And he wrote the lyrics to that part for his part, and he texted me in them. He's like, yo, I just want to let you know, like, these are probably like one of my most favorite lyrics that I've ever written, so, and I wanted to give them to you.
Have to use it.
Yeah, so it was cool, and he just went in there and he like slayed the part, and you know, thank you, Garret, again for doing that. Miss you, homie. So yeah.
Now, I mean, when you do something like that with such a personal song and you have someone else singing it with you, does that change the feelings of the song when you perform it live, or like, for example, with Garret, he wrote some lyrics on there, but it's your, you know, it's your experience. Does that change anything?
Fun thing, we've actually never played that song live. Yet. We definitely plan to in the future. It'd be awesome if Garret come out and do it live. That'd be sick. But as far as changing like the feel of the song, I don't really think so, because it was really interesting. Like, it was kind of like everything that I felt in my head about everything, and then everything that he felt in that same scenario in regards to his life. And it was kind of like we had like this mutual, untalked about understanding for each other. So it was really cool.
So we're on this Franzilla tour at the moment. And it's about to wrap up in maybe 3-4 days.
Yeah.
What else do you guys have planned out? I'm sure you guys have tons of tours coming up as well.
Going back to Europe. We're going back to Europe. Was it our last night?
Yeah, we go back to our last night. We go back to Europe with our boys in our last night. Those dudes are like probably our literal best friends. And then after we're done with that, we go do a U.S. tour with our last night. Okay. And then after that, we can't tell you. No, I'm just kidding. Well, not really kidding, but we're going to be doing a whole bunch of writing and a lot of big tours coming up next year, and keep this Palisades train going.
What's been the most like unreal like moment that's come from either a fan talking about Mind Games or just while promoting this record? Like, what's been like, I can't believe this just happened?
Honestly, for me, I think it's just like the fact that fans would come out and just say thank you, you know what I mean? Or just seeing people just like really vibing and singing the lyrics back. And honestly, for me personally, is being in Japan and having people like know who we are out there. I mean, there's one night we just got in and we were in Shibuya, and this guy randomly just said, yo, are you Palisades? And it was like this just random moment. And we met this guy, and we hung out with him for the next 3 days, who just knew who we were. He's from Philadelphia. He lived in Japan for like 3 years, and it just so happens at that very moment, he was there and we were there, and he knew who we were. And that was probably one of the craziest moments for me, the fact that we were in a completely different country, which you'd never been before, and someone knew who we were. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
100%. That was definitely. And also, when we were playing, to know that when we were in Japan, like millions of miles away from home, and Sleep with Sirens, Issues, and When OK Rock were playing shows the same days as us, and we still sold out our shows.
Damn.
And not only that, but hearing all the kids like sing back words in a different, like in our language, and like know them and like be so humble. Literally, probably just stepping off the plane and being in Japan, thinking like, wow, Palisades is what got us to this point.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to finally catch up with you guys. I didn't get to catch you guys on Warped Tour because you guys are busy with press all the time. These guys are blown up. Anyways, catch Palisades on tour either now or next week or next year, and pick up their forever. Pick up their newest album, Mind Games, which is out now, and don't forget to subscribe to us on Punk Videos Rock. Thanks for watching, guys.